my gosh, it's the final stretch. I am so over this. This is the last part of this series, y'all. So thank you so much for sticking in with me and just bearing with me through everything and my ranting and me going from here and there. But just know I know what the fuck I'm talking about, and I know I'm not crazy. So yeah, let's finish this off. We're gonna go to part 5. I got moved to the company. Now I'm under one of the sergeants that is there, who is also under the first sergeant, Courtney Calkins, right? I'm there, not having any issues at all. But obviously I explained to the sergeant, me and my spouse share one car, and that's gonna be too much going back and forth on base. She has to be to work at a certain time, and then we have to be here at 09. So I'm easily here early in the morning either way. So I'm there before anybody, right? And then she was like, okay, understood. I got my initial counseling from her. This is my 3rd initial counseling that I've ever received in the Army, and my 3rd move that I've ever been moved in the Army. The first one was the Iron Eagle Initiative. The second one was when I came back from the battalion because I wanted to be back in PAD. And then me leaving PAD, going back to the battalion because I filed an EO complaint. 3rd move, like I said. But the command tried to make it seem like I got moved several times and I have a problem with my behavior. That was never the case. I don't know why they kept saying that. They were covering up sexual assault that I had reported, and that's why. But we're going to get to more details about that as well. Like I said, I get to the company, working, not having any issues, got my first initial counseling from the sergeant. Then it came to a time where there were NCOs that were assigned to help set up for the ACFT, right? These NCOs did not show up, so they were trying to fill the spots. The first sergeant Courtney Calkins, said, send Jordan. Mind you, I just got out of the hospital. I was hospitalized for the whole weekend because I had rhabdo in my legs. And I could barely even move. Like, when I tell y'all I could not stand up, like getting out of the chair just like this to get up, like normally, I could not even do that. Like, I had to stand on my tippy toes to stand up because my muscles were so stiff and I was in excruciating pain. Like, I could barely fucking move. And the only reason I knew I had rhabdo is because I had to take Randall to the damn ED because she wanted to get checked for something. I don't remember. I think she was sick or something like that. And I was like, well, while you're here, I might as well get checked out too because, like, I'm not feeling good. Like, I thought it was just like muscle pain, from me being in a gym and doing the EF and B and stuff like that. But it was not. It was actually rhabdo. So the first sergeant knew this because he came into my patient room with the company commander, Captain Davis, and the lieutenant, I forget her name. But they all came in there and was like, oh, we're just going to make sure you're okay. So you knew about this. When I had got out of the hospital, I had went to the ED because they told me to return to the ED if I'm still having excruciating pain. Went to the ED. The ED said, okay, we're going to send you home for right now, but the next time we're not going to be able to give you second quarters because we're not supposed to be doing that. But if you go to sick call, they'll be able to give you second quarters if you need more time to rest. And I'm like, okay. So then a few days later, I go to sick call and I tell sick call, like, hey, the ED told me this and the third. And then there was a Lieutenant Omar Cordona in the United States Navy who decided to say that he's not going to help me. He was going to just send me to the ED and let the ED take care of me. And I was like, the ED just told me to come here first because they cannot give me second quarters and I need more time to rest. He was like, oh, I don't know about that. I can't help you with that. I was like, well, if I need to go to patient relations because you're refusing to give me care, then I would do that. He leaves out, comes back in. He was like, okay, well, I talked to my supervisor. My supervisor just wants you to go to the ED so they can check your CK levels to make sure that you're okay because we don't want you to run into any problems or anything like that. Well, if that was the case, then you should have said that the first time, right? So I go to the ED. They said nothing is wrong. They sent me back to sick call. Then they gave me second quarters. Mind you, I never had any kind of interactions with nobody else but him. And the first person who came in, like, that brought me in the back, I would just tell him, like, I'm in, like, really bad pain. I never even cussed that person out. Never even said anything negative to that person. Never said anything about patient relations or nothing to this person. The only person I said something to was Cordona. And it was because I was in pain and he kept saying he can't do nothing about it. Didn't even go make the patient relations complaint yet. I'm like, okay, whatever. So then, like I said, I was not supposed to be helping set up for the ACFT, and First Sergeant Courtney Calkins knew that. So when the sergeant said, hey, are you able to come set up for the ACFT? And she told me the time schedules. I was like, that's going to be impossible for me to do so because that's logistically going to be too much. You're going to expect me to leave out the house to go help set up for the ACFT, come back off of base to go pick up my spouse, to go drop her off on base at work, to go back home, to come back on base to be to work at 9. line. That was too much. And she said she understood it, right? She sends me another text message. She was like, oh, we might need to get a family care plan for you. And I'm like, why do I need a family care plan? What is a family care plan? She was like, oh, it's like when you have to take care of, someone or something like that. I'm like, okay, so I'll look it up. And it basically says that mostly people who go on deployments need a family care plan, or if you have like a child or an adult that you take care of with special needs and you're not able to attend to them, a family care plan is put in place just in case you have to be called to duty or something like that, right? I'll link it here. So I'm like, oh, well, I don't have any of those, so I don't understand why would I need a family care plan. She was like, well, I'm just going based off of, what I was told. I'm like, okay. I goes in the office and I asked two people, a Sergeant Malcolm and then a Sergeant Park. I asked Sergeant Malcolm and I asked Sergeant Park. Sergeant Park has 2 kids. Sergeant Malcolm has the one that I know of, because when I seen her the last time, she looked like. But I asked both of them, I'm like, do you guys know what a family care plan is? They was like, yeah, it's like, for this, and the third. And I'm like, do you guys have one? Because I know you guys have kids. They was like, no, I don't have one. Started parking like, I've been here for 3 years and I don't have one and I never needed one. The other girl, she just got here. She was like, yeah, I don't have one either and I never needed one. And I was like, okay. First Sergeant Calkins rises up from the fucking dead. From his cubicle and was just looking around. So I turned around. I was like, First Sergeant, did you need me? He was like, no, I just heard you asking questions about a family care plan. And I was like, yeah, I was just asking. He was like, oh, okay. Because I knew it was you who told her that shit. What the fuck is your issue with me? First, you go behind my back and change my fucking schedule for PAO with Sergeant First Class Brown, and then try to be willy-nilly playing in my fucking face and smiling and shit like you care. You don't care. You piece of shit. Then after that, another thing had happened where we had battalion PT. Well, it was actually company. No, it was battalion PT, but it was only like the first sergeant, the company commanders of whoever wanted to participate, I guess, and the people who worked in the training and orderly room of, each company. We had the PT. We were in civilians. I came there with my AirPods in, like my AirPods that I wear to the gym, like the AirPod Pro Maxes. And First Sergeant Calkins says, oh, you can't wear those during battalion PT. I was like, but we're not in uniform. He was like, yeah, it's just a thing. Like, I don't understand why the fuck these motherfuckers think that I'm some fucking slow-ass person. Like, I have never been in the military before. So I was like, okay. I put this stuff away. Mind you, I'm seeing everybody else with their fucking AirPods in their ear, right? Or their Beats. I'm like, okay, whatever. I put it away. Then when we was about to start doing, our sprints, our laps around the thing after warm-ups and workouts and stuff like that, I go to the other first sergeant. I'm like, First Sergeant, is it okay if I wear my AirPods while we're running around the track? He looks at me, he was like, yeah, like, why wouldn't it be okay? I'm confused. I was like, I was just asking because we're at battalion PT. He was like, yeah, I mean, we're in civilian, so I don't understand why would there be an issue with you wearing AirPods. And I'm like, here we go again, right? After I go back on the bleachers to go grab my AirPods, First Sergeant Calkins looking at me like, what the fuck is that for? What is it for? What is it for? So I'm like, okay, boom, whatever. After that situation, I was like, something ain't right. Something is just not right at all. So then all of a sudden, Captain Davis comes to me and like, hey, do you want to go TDY to Fort Knox? I was like, yeah, I've been asking Sergeant First Class Brown for the past year to 2 years, can I go? And she never gave me the opportunity to go. He was like, okay, well, I know you want to get away from the hospital and, this environment and stuff like that. So I'm going to try to get you over there so you don't have to deal with this stuff over here because, your EO complaint and your congressional. I'm like, okay, that works for me. So it was an axe, right? I wasn't supposed to leave until May 30th, but after that shit happened with the AirPods situation, they told me that they were sending me out the next week. I didn't even have fucking orders. I didn't even have a flight there. I didn't have nothing. They scrambled all that shit together on a Friday and then flew me out on a Monday. This is in May. Again. Like, that's what I'm telling you. Like, this May cycle is given. I'm starting to notice, right? After I goes to Fort Knox, this is my fourth move. Let's go over the fourth moves again. Me going to battalion for the Iron Eagle initiative. Second move is me going back to pad because I did not want to be up there at, the company not doing anything. The third move was me going back to the company because I had filed an EO complaint. Sorry, I had to come back. But me going back to the company because I have filed an EO complaint and a congressional. And then me going to TDY because they asked me if I wanted to go to get away from this climate because of the complaints that I put in. So this will be my fourth move, right? I gets there, not having any issues. I run across this person named Stats Aren't Easy, and he was just being mad, rude, and aggressive for whatever reason. But we were literally just talking about last names and stuff like that because there was this guy named Athene and then a Stats Are named. And he was asking him, like, how do you spell your last name or something like that? Or where are you from? Because, your last name is spelled differently from, like, what normal white are spelled like. So while I was sitting there waiting, we was all having a conversation. And then I asked him, I was like, where is your last name from? He was like, it's African. I was like, I mean, I know it's African, but what part of Africa? He was like, Nigeria. I was like, oh, that's interesting because Jamaican patois has deep roots with Nigerian Igbo. And he was like, oh, okay. And I guess he kind of got taken off guard about me saying that. And I was like, okay, never had any issues with him since then. Then I'm at CST. CST is a whole different fucking story, right? I'm at CST not having any issues, but Asia Joseph comes to me talking about Stats Are Better Chan is calling the NCOs here at Fort Knox telling them to watch out for you because you filed an EO complaint in a congressional. So right then and there, shit was already tainted. And before anybody tried to say anything, I just wanted to be known that when she did come up to me and she told me this, like when I was in my rack area, I was definitely vlogging and it was definitely caught on video. So yeah. Started having mad issues, especially given the fact that the first issue I really started having was with Shannon Martin, Sergeant First Class Shannon Martin, Major DC, I don't know his first name, and there is a Sergeant First Class Charlene John, Miss Big Back Biggie, Humpty Dumpty, long face, dry up skin girl. Anyhow, the reason why I'm saying this like this is because I seen that stack of paperwork as well. This bitch wrote like 5 pages essay about me. Do you not remember that I was literally vlogging half of the stuff that you saying that was happening? Like, that's fucking weird. So you fabricated a whole fucking story just because I filed an IG complaint against you and Martin for fucking targeting me. Literally. I got assaulted out there by fucking Wannick. And not only did I get assaulted, this man literally tried to hit me with the fucking car, the fucking TMP, while I'm driving and have other people in the damn car. I'm telling Martin not doing shit about it. Martin tried to talk me out of it. And in the day that he actually physically assaulted me by pushing my fucking head almost into the fucking computer screen while Charlene John literally sitting across from me, both of their asses fucking convinced me to not make a complaint. Talking about something, we want to make this a place where, family oriented and stuff like that. I think there was just a misunderstanding. No, there was not no fucking misunderstanding because guess what? He did it again and again. And by the time I actually got the chance to report it, now all of a sudden I'm the problem. Now all of a sudden people are writing all these negative fucking shit about me. Barbara, Sergeant First Class Barbara, never even fucking met you, never even really fucking known you for you to be even writing anything. And you lied and said that Martin was talking about this is an NCO meeting and I'm not an NCO and I need to remove myself. And I just stood there watching. That is not what happened. I don't know why the fuck you lied about that. Sean Barbara, why would you lie? Then Major Campbell and Major Smith had really great interactions with them. And I was so surprised to see the negative shit that they wrote about me. I'm so confused. Then there was a major who I've never even met before. He wrote up a negative paperwork about me as well. And I'm like, where the fuck did all this shit come from? Mind you, I never knew none of this stuff. None of it. Because when I filed my IG complaint, I also made an appointment with behavioral health. And I'm like, I cannot do this no more. Because Martin fucking yelling at me just because I said the fucking moon was pretty and it was a bright red and it was a full moon. And she's like, excuse me, what did you say? You over there mumbling underneath your breath? All because a fucking full moon? Bitch, are you serious? Mind you, that's long story short. If y'all want the full story time for that one, just fucking let me know and I'll give it to you guys. But anyway, long story short, I ended up leaving CST. Now that will be like the fifth move because I filed what? Another fucking EO complaint and an IG complaint and a congressional. And I had behavioral health sign me up for IOP because of the shit that was going on. Keep in mind, I kept texting Captain Joshua Davis saying, hey, can I come back? I'm having issues here. And he's ignoring me. Then when I finally get sent back, I get put underneath Sergeant First Class Adam Small. The first thing he tells me is that I already know about your EO complaint and your congressional, so I'm gonna document everything you do to make you a super soldier or get you kicked out.
You sound right.
Keep in mind, I just told him about 2 deaths that I just had in my family within a summer while I was at CST. And I told him about my orthodontist appointment. I called it ortho. And I also told him about like the driving situation, like, you know, me and my spouse sharing one vehicle and stuff like that. For the most part, he seemed understandable. And then he goes in and say, you know, he already know about my EL complaint and all that shit. I'm like, that's weird, okay. So then, after he does that, he's gonna take his hand, touch my leg, and caress my down to my foot, pick up my fucking foot, and gonna twist my foot. Yes, because why the fuck would you do that? I reported it to the command. You know what the fucking command did? The command would not remove me from being under him until I filed another congressional and IG complaint. So now that is my 7th move, right? Going back to the company after filing another complaint. And I also filed a sharp complaint, and I filed a police report against him. And you know what the command did? They kept me underneath of him until I filed the sharp complaint and the police report. After I filed the congressional, that's when they removed me from being underneath his charge. So because they didn't move me immediately, he told me that he's gonna start writing up a bunch of documentation, documenting every small thing that I do, literally to get me kicked out, right? That's a whole nother story time for another time. But he basically collimated a bunch of negative counselings, and then First Sergeant Courtney Calkins started giving me negative counselings as well. And that's how they came up with a bunch of negative counselings, and they asked the people at CST to basically write negative paperwork against me. And then, like I said, when I had rhabdo and I was at the doctor's office, they had him write up a statement saying that I cussed him out, saying that he don't know what he's doing, and everybody at the hospital don't know what the fuck they're doing. And basically I cussed him out, which I never did. So I don't even understand why the fuck was my medical visit being used against me. So they used all of that documentation to basically formulate a justification for a pattern of misconduct to separate me. So besides all of those negative counselings that I received, the most important one that I really know was unfair was when First Sergeant Courtney Calkins literally gave me a negative counseling for my TikTok video when I said nothing beats a JetBlue holiday than a command trying to have you admitted to the hospital to avoid accountability, because I literally told them that the man sexually assaulted me and they kept keeping me underneath him, and I was still underneath him about a week after I had reported it, and they was not removing me until I started making complaints going high up. Then they wanted to make sure that I went to behavioral health and try to like get me admitted. Like, I'm not talking about just get me checked out. They were trying to have me admitted. And I called the DOD IG hotline, and they told me that they cannot legally do that. They legally cannot do that. So there was a lot of stuff happening. And then First Lieutenant Melissa Huffer, I had first reported the sexual assault to her as well. She got it in the email, and guess what? She didn't do anything about it either. But she was so quick to write a statement, a memorandum for my separation board, for the justification for my separation, stating that I was recorded in the hospital, and there's a policy that says do not record in a hospital. When there are so many other different soldiers that recorded at hospital, not to mention me being PAO, I have recorded and taken so many pictures and videos in that hospital. And not just me, I'm talking about commanders, I'm talking about junior soldiers, literally taking videos and pictures in the hospital and posting it on social media, but none of them are getting in trouble for it. But I'm only getting in trouble for it because I literally said that the command was not holding the person accountable who sexually assaulted me. And guess what? Everybody else in the comments was saying that's exactly what they do. They were agreeing with me. So I got in trouble because the whole world was agreeing with me that they see what you guys were doing. And they tried to cover their ass so bad that First Sergeant Courtney Calkins literally went to the doctor and told the doctor something that I never said in my mouth. And there were 2 witnesses that was listening the entire time because I was on the phone. The entire time I was talking to him and asking him to remove me from being underneath of that NCO. And I also had 2 family members who were on the phone during that same time and literally heard the entire conversation, and they never heard me say any of that to him. So I had to file a HIPAA complaint. I went all the way to Arlington, Virginia and filed a HIPAA complaint against the doctor he conspired with and himself. And guess what? They had to change my medical records because they tried to make it seem like I came in there for suicidal ideation. That's not what I came in there for. I didn't even want to stay there. I was not even trying to go there. You involuntarily escorted me. And none of my behavior portrayed that I was going to harm myself, and I never said anything about harming myself. But you know the classic move they use? Oh, I'm giving you a direct order. Technically, if the direct order goes against the soldier's well-being, then a direct order is illegal. And back to crater phase, because that's the reason why I paused this entire series to talk about the counselings that I received. Tell me why crater phase, aka First Sergeant Musu, I don't even know how you say his name, But he also wrote up a memorandum against me stating that I was disrespectful to him and I rolled my eyes. How condescending and so disgusting it is to sit here and target a black woman and say I rolled my eyes and stormed off. You know they say that about every black woman? Like, we're so tired of hearing it. Like, we're so overhearing it. Like, you're literally stereotyping me at this point. So yeah, I seen that he wrote up a memorandum that I have not seen. Mind you, this was in 2024, stating how disrespectful I was towards him when he was trying to give me a correction, which was an invalid correction on top of that. And I'm just seeing this in 2025. This is so interesting to me. But I definitely did. Soon as it happened, back in 2024, I sent it up to try to get help because it seemed like every time I came into contact with him, he had an issue with me. And I never even known the man. Long story short, there was a time where I was doing PAO and he just kept saying things like, come on with those fucking pictures. Come on with those damn pictures. And I'm over here like, you're making me feel mad uncomfortable. This is my job. I'm supposed to be doing it. Then when it's time for it to be over, he tried to give me an empty bottle and say, here, hold this. No, it's okay, First Sergeant. I'm okay. He was like, here, hold it. Trying to force me to take the empty bottle. I was in the Marine Corps. I know what you're doing. I'm not putting nothing in the trash for you. Like, who the fuck do you think you are? Come on, this is my very first interaction with this man. And all the other interactions that I had with him that you guys see me document and send that in the email, literally, I had enough that day. I literally had a fuck enough of him that day. And I sent it up. And I know that's the only reason why he got that date for the memorandum that he so much fabricated and drafted up and backdated just to justify my separation. Also, keep in mind that him and Sergeant First Class Small, the one who sexually assaulted me, is close with him and also close with First Sergeant Calkins. Isn't this crazy? And if you look again on the email, you can also see who I CC'd on that email. The very first person I fucking filed a complaint against. So everybody just literally drafting up everything just to come against one person. And then he didn't even tell the full story, but ain't nobody gonna tell me that I'm crazy or I'm playing the victim because guess what? I've been in leadership positions before coming into the Army. I see things, I know things that happen, literally seen it. And I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all seen way worse than this. So nobody's not gonna come here and tell me that this never happened and that I'm playing a victim. Absolutely not. So before they did that, and all those negative counselings came from Sergeant First Class Adam Small after he sexually assaulted me, Captain Davis tried to send me a medical form, like it was a medical evaluation to like, I guess, medically retire me. He told me to just sign the form and then just send it back to him. Well, actually, the human resource specialist, I don't remember how to pronounce her last name, but she is actually the one who sent me the email and telling me to just sign it, literally sign and date and send it back. But as you guys can see, this is a blank form. This barely have anything on it. And the crazy thing is that I got a discharge for a pattern of misconduct, a serious offense, but you clearly can see right here that it's saying I have good character. So if your first sergeant already tried to amend my medical records and tell the provider something that I did not say, and your other first sergeant tried to say that I was being disrespectful and stuff, what makes you think that I'm going to sign a blank form with nothing on it for you to basically put anything you want on it and then have my signature on it? No. Mind you, the form was not even filled out. They just wanted me to sign it. That's it. And send it back to them. And I'm like, I don't feel comfortable doing this. Like, I'm not doing this, right? So then after that, they took away, my opportunity to get medically separated. And then that's when it was like, okay, yeah, we're going to separate you for a pattern of misconduct. And I've been fighting the fight ever since. I had to get a civilian lawyer because the TDY lawyer basically told me that my command doesn't like me and they're trying to do whatever they can to basically kick me out because they just don't want to deal with me. Yep. The paralegal told me that as well. Yep. So I'm just like, that's insane. And the whole separation board, it was so bad. It was so bad. It was so bad. Not even just that. They were supposed to have multiple witnesses, but only 2 of them came on the phone to speak, and only 1 came in person, which was Captain Davis, and he did his little fake cry. And not even just that. They literally changed the location of where it was going to be last minute. I had like 5 different people that were going to show up in person, but because they changed it last minute, those people could not show up for me. And then on top of that, the people who I had that were dialing in, like, on the phone to speak on my behalf, they wouldn't even let them speak. The prosecutor kept saying, oh, have you even supervised her? But the people who were speaking on the prosecutor's behalf from their witnesses, they did not supervise me. So why were you doing that? And then you had the board members, except for the one lady that was on the end and she was a sergeant first class, but the colonel, Rochelle, I think her name is Rochelle Ratoma or something like that, or Rachel Ratoma, and then the other one, the African guy, yeah, they just had their head in their hand the entire time, not paying attention. That one of them was even asleep during my testimony. Like, you can just tell they just wasn't paying attention. They weren't interested at all. Like, they already had their mind made up and the board was biased from the beginning. The battalion commander even lied and said that I was rolling my eyes at the command sergeant major. Now, why would I roll my eyes at somebody who has been helping me my entire time being here? Like, that's textbook discrimination. Instead of dealing with the actual issue, she leaned right into that tired stereotype of a black woman rolling her eyes with the attitude because it's the easiest play in the book when they want to silence us. And if you're talking about Command Sergeant Major Robertson, I barely even had an interaction with him, so you can't say I've ever rolled my eyes at him. I just know she made that up, but I'm gonna go more in detail about the board on my next vlog because I did vlog during that time frame, and then that's what I'm going to talk about it. I even got some clips while I was there because it seems like every time they get around me, they try to make me put my phone and my watch away because I guess they're scared that I'm going to record them saying stuff that they know they can't take back. That's how you know they be doing shady stuff, especially Colonel Malloy. Oh, she did not let me have my phone around her at all. She made me put it up completely. And yeah, and if it wasn't for her Command Sergeant Major, I wouldn't even have been moved to a different spot after filing the EO complaint, the Sharp complaint, and the congressional and the police report, because she was just fine with just letting me stay underneath that same NCO. I said I'm gonna go more in detail about it and show you the negative counselings that I got from the NCOs and go more into detail with that. I'm like, how can you as a woman sit here and say this shit? And the only thing that they threw out, like I said, was the fucking thing about stats aren't easy because Charlene John wanted to tell them that I told him his culture and his language wasn't real. Why the fuck would I tell him that? I'm telling you, these people are just so fucking weird. Like, that's all they have is the military. That's all they fucking know. But I hope they get a real fucking reality check by somebody that's not in the fucking military while they're still in the military and get it again when they get out. Because that shit was not fair at all. So long story short, that is how I ultimately got kicked out of the Army. Thank you for my TED Talk of my hour and 48 minutes. I'm so sorry it was so long, but that's my story time. And like I said, when the assault happened, I reported it to the command. First Sergeant Calkins knew. First Lieutenant Melissa Hupfer knew. Captain Joshua Davis knew. Lieutenant Colonel Bethany Landeck knew. Colonel Jessica Malloy knew. All of them knew. And they covered it up just to save Sergeant First Class Adam Small's ass. But I'm telling you this right now. Y'all that have kids, what you do to other people's children, especially a child of God, that is going to come back on y'all tenfold. And then Adam Small, you're going to meet your match. Brown, Sergeant First Class Rhonda Brown, you're going to meet your match too. I know it feels good to, get out the military, you retired and, all that good stuff, making all this good money. You don't have to work or whatever it may be. I know it feels good, right? But God can snatch that from you any day. And also, thank you for what you did do to me. And I really do hope that the U.S. Senate does pass the bipartisan legislation for active duty service members and veterans being able to sue the military for military sexual trauma and for the commands covering it up and not investigating it. It didn't have to go that way because that's not the first time that you put your hands on me either. As I rewind the clip back. So that's my story time. And I think it took a long time for me to tell this story because, Jesus Christ, it was just too much stuff going on in my life. But I finally got this off my chest. And once I post it, I can start to live again. Hopefully. I'm in counseling. Whoever's going through this too, you are not alone. And I'm so sorry for all of the women and probably men out there too who have been sexually assaulted in the military and they lost their life to suicide because of the trauma that was left on them from that. I'm so sorry. And my heart goes out to you and your families because no one should ever have to go through that, especially not alone. So thank you guys for listening, and I hope that the rest of my vlogs, we'll just see how I'm surviving. Because right now, like I said, they kicked me out. I didn't have a financial safety net or anything like that. And I literally just been living day to day, literally day to day. And before anybody say anything about my damn nails and my damn lashes, this was a gift that was given to me so I do not look how I feel on the inside. Excuse me, and my hair. So shout out to my sis who did my hair. She's so sweet. And I don't know. We're just going to see how life is going to take us. I know I'm probably going to be getting my eviction notice this week. I can tell you that. And then I have to send it to Tunnels to Towers, so they can help me pay my so they can help me pay for my rent and stuff like that. But I'm just really hoping that the VA comes through fast enough, because like this shit is unbelievable. And I can at least say God carried me through the entire summer. I thought that it was going to be really bad because of how many episodes and breakdowns I've had mentally. And I'm just like, I don't know how I'm going to manage to keep going and keep pushing. But the minimal support that I did have surrounding me, I am so forever grateful for all of the memories and all of the fun times, the conversations, the hard ones, the loving ones, the laughter, everything that I literally have shared with the people who are in my support system since being out of the military and going through all of this stuff. So thank you guys. And I wish that God blesses your heart and your entire life, because you don't know how much you saved somebody from literally not wanting to be here anymore. So thank you. And thank you for listening to my nearly 2-hour talk of how I survived the military.